weli waxaan bartamaha kaga jirnaa shirkii arrimaha Soomaaliya looga hadlayay ee guriga weyn ee Lancaster House haatana waxaanu fursad u helnay ambassadorka ergeyga gaarka ambassador James oo u qaabilsan dalka Soomaaliya Mareeykanka inaanu interview gaar ah u nasiyo waxaan jecelahay inaan weydiiyo ambassadorku sidoo uu arko siyaasadda Mareeykanka ee Soomaaliya ku wajahan iyo Soomaaliya shirkan maanta halkan ka dhacay say u arkaan daba ambassador and welcome to Universal TV. And how do you see the conference today?
This second conference in London, I think, is a very important additional step to demonstrate continued international support for Somalia. This conference is co-hosted by the Somali government and the United Kingdom government. It builds on last year's London conference, whose focus was on encouraging a successful end to the transition. That has occurred. Our jobs now are collectively to support the reconstruction, the development, and the stabilization of Somalia.
Let's talk about security first, which is the main priority. Al-Shabaab are back home still fighting, blowing people up. How much assistance can US government give to Somali government in order to train Somali soldiers, better intelligence in order to fight back al-Shabaab, if you like, or prevent them killing Somalis?
Security is indeed a priority underscored by President Hassan Sheikh in his remarks this morning. It's also a priority underscored by the development by the Somali government of a new strategic vision for rebuilding the Somali security forces. The United States already provides support to the government of Somalia for its security sector. We and other partners also support, of course, the African Union forces in Somalia. And I think we all realize that there will continue to be the need for a collective response to improve the security situation. That said, we also understand that the priority must shift to support for Somali forces to take on the essential responsibility of safeguarding their own people.
Right. As you know, there's a lot of aid goes from America to Somalia, and that it often does not reach the needy, the people that attend it. It goes to Nairobi, and there's a lot of rumors that people spend on other things other than those people. How are you going to make sure those innocent people suffering this aid reaches them who need it most?
We, like other donors, insist on very active monitoring and oversight of all of our assistance going into Somalia. It is a complex environment in which to provide assistance, and so we recognize that it's perhaps not always 100% perfect. But at the same time, there is a committed effort to ensure proper accountability for all resources. I think one of the key outcomes of this conference, and a point stressed repeatedly by President Hassan Sheikh, is the need to move to a new paradigm of international partner engagement with Somalia. And that new paradigm really entails Somali leadership and ownership of its strategies, with donors and partners aligning behind those strategies. And I think that's why a key output of this conference has been the endorsement of a series of Somali government strategies in key sectors: security, justice, public financial management, stabilization and reconstruction, absorption of disengaged al-Shabaab fighters. And now with this strategic vision outlined by the Somali government, donor partners, international and regional friends of Somalia can line up behind those priorities and behind those plans.
Do you think one way of fighting al-Shabaab is to sit down with them and talk to them and negotiate with them what they want, rather than fighting them through the gun?
The political situation inside Somalia, of course, needs to be led by the Somali government and representatives both in the national government, in parliament, and other key actors inside Somalia. I think we, like other international partners, will take our cues first and foremost from that government as far as what kind of internal dialogue it wishes to pursue. That said, I think we've all seen recent examples that while Al-Shabaab has clearly been weakened over the past 2 years. The trajectory for this movement is unquestionably negative, yet it remains dangerous, it remains threatening, and these recent incidents in Mogadishu and elsewhere, I think, continue to show the brutality of al-Shabaab. They continue to show that it speaks to a dark vision for Somalia, and that ultimately it is not responsive to the needs, the desires, the aspirations of the Somali people.
Some people raise concern regarding the US commitment and Britain, although you cannot speak for Britain, but American commitment to bring peace in Somalia, because of early 80s in Afghanistan. America left it in Afghanistan. From there, we got al-Shabaab, we got al-Qaeda, and we had Osama bin Laden and a lot of other people there, just because you left them there. Can you give us insurance that that would not happen this time around in Somalia?
The United States is very committed to Somalia, to the Somali people. In January, for the first time in more than 20 years, we formally recognized the government of Somalia. Secretary Hillary Clinton did that shortly before she left that post. And we are highly committed in terms of our security support, in terms of our humanitarian assistance, in terms of our reconstruction and development assistance, and in terms of our very active diplomatic engagement, including high-level representation at this important conference here in London. I think that commitment is sound. It's a lesson learned from many prior conflict and post-conflict situations, that it's important to stay the course and to continue to accompany countries that are emerging from such difficult times.
As you know, Somalia is divided, north and the rest of the country. What is the American policy towards Somalia being united, i.e. Somaliland being part of Somalia, as it used to be before?
Well, the United States supports the position of Somalia's neighbors, of the African Union, of the United Nations, that we recognize a single Somalia. We also fully understand that the administration in Somaliland has worked hard to respond to the needs and desires of its people, and we continue to maintain some programs of cooperation in Somaliland as well. But ultimately, this is not going to be a decision for the United States. Arguably, it's not going to be a decision for regional and international partners. It'll be a decision for Somalis to conclude. And we're pleased that there have been some positive initiatives, initially in the United Kingdom last year, and then more recently in Turkey, with meetings hosted by the government of Turkey between President Hassan Sheikh and President Selano. And these encounters, we think, offer a good opportunity for dialogue among Somalis as to how they see their future together.
The administration in Hargeisa worked really hard for the last 22 years to make sure that part of Somalia or Somaliland is peace, and they achieved it quite remarkable things that we all proud of. They turned around and said, why wouldn't you recognize us as an independent state from the rest of Somalia? They had 2 successful elections. There's a peace better than the rest of Somalia. Why wouldn't the American government give them the recognition they need? We can all live happily ever after.
I think that's a question you can pose to Somalia's neighbors, to the African Union, to the United Nations, indeed to every other country in the world, because there is a common policy internationally with respect to Somaliland and with respect to recognition of the national government in Mogadishu. So this is not a distinct American position. This is really an American policy that is fully consistent and in conformity with the international community's views on the Somalia situation.
And that's one Somalia, as I understand it.
That's the international position. That's correct.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We are very grateful to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.